The story of Street Fighter II begins back in 1976 with the release of Sega's Heavyweight Champ. The game is considered to be the first to feature hand-to-hand combat and helped to popularize the fighting genre. In Japan, Heavyweight Champ would become the third highest-grossing arcade game of 1976. 1984 would see the release of Nintendo's Punch-Out! And Karate Champ. Both of these titles would help to popularize one-on-one fighting games, with Karate Champ becoming the highest-grossing American arcade game of 1985. The release of Yi Kung Fu in 1985 would heavily influence Capcom's new franchise. The game was inspired by Bruce Lee's Hong Kong martial arts films. In contrast to the grounded realism of Karate Champ, Yi Kung Fu moved the genre towards more fantastical, fast-paced action, with various different characters having a variety of special moves and high jumps, establishing the template for subsequent fighting games. It also introduced the health meter system to the genre, in contrast to the point-scoring system of Karate Champ. These games would lay the groundwork for Capcom's release of Street Fighter in 1987. The game would prove to be a commercial success in arcades and introduced special attacks and some of the conventions that became standard in later fighting games, such as the 6-button controls and the use of special moves. Street Fighter was directed by Takashi Nishiyama, who came up with the idea for the game by adapting the boss battles of his earlier game Kung Fu Master, released in 1984. The boss fights were inspired by the Bruce Lee film Game of Death. Nishiyama stated that he wanted the game to have a story similar to a film. The designers also took inspiration from Robert Klaus's 1973 movie, Enter the Dragon, also starring Bruce Lee. Both the game and movie feature an international fighting tournament, with each character having a unique combination of ethnicity, nationality, and fighting style. Keiji Inafune, best known for his artwork in Capcom's Mega Man franchise, got his start at the company by designing and illustrating the character portraits in Street Fighter. Inafune based several character designs on the manga Karate Baka Ikadai. Street Fighter II vastly improved many of the concepts introduced in the first game, including the use of special command-based moves, a combo system, a 6-button configuration, and a wider selection of playable characters, each with a unique fighting style. The game featured a popular 2-player mode that allowed competitive play, which helped prolong the survival of the declining video game arcades. Street Fighter II inspired grassroots tournament events, culminating in the Evolution Championship Series. The original Street Fighter II features a roster of 8 playable characters. This includes Ryu and Ken along with 6 new international fighters. In the single-player tournament, the player fights the other 7 main characters, then the 4 Grandmasters. Takayuki Nakayama stated in an interview that many character design ideas were trialed and dropped along the development process. Rejected character designs for Street Fighter II included another bullfighter and an American amateur wrestler. With the exception of Sagat, the Shadaloo bosses have different names in the Japanese version. The African-American boxer known as Balrog in the international versions was inspired by real-life boxer Mike Tyson and was originally named M. Bison. Vega and Bison were originally named Balrog and Vega, respectively. When Street Fighter II was localized for the overseas markets, the names of the bosses were rotated, out of concern that the boxers' similarities to Tyson could have led to a lawsuit. Noritaka Funamizu explains how the combo system came about by accident. While I was making a bug check during the car bonus stage, I noticed something strange. I tapped the sequence and we saw that during the punch timing, it was possible to add a second hit and so on. I thought this was something impossible to make useful inside a game, as the timing balance was so hard to catch. So we decided to leave the feature as a hidden one. The most interesting thing is that this became the base for future titles. Later, we were able to make the timing more comfortable and the combo into a real feature. In Street Fighter II, we thought if you got the perfect timing you could place several hits, up to 4 I think. Then we managed to place 8. Most of the music in the game was composed by Yoko Shimomura. This is ultimately the only game in the series on which Shimomura worked, as she left the company for Square 2 years later. By 1994, the game had been played by an estimated 25 million people in the United States alone. Due to its major success, a series of updated versions were released with additional features and characters. Worldwide, more than 200,000 arcade cabinets and 15 million software units of all versions of Street Fighter II have been sold, grossing an estimated $10 billion in total revenue, making it one of the top 3 highest-grossing video games of all time. Street Fighter II is regarded as one of the greatest video games of all time, and the most important and influential fighting game ever made. Its launch is seen as a revolutionary moment, credited with popularizing the fighting genre during the 1990s and inspiring other producers to create their own fighting series. With the success of Street Fighter VI, the franchise appears to be as popular as ever.
you